bringing this conference. And I'm sure that a lot of us will know about it because Humanitarian Foundation. So before we bring the first speaker, I want us to have a clue, a little understanding of what Educate Humanitarian Foundation is all about. Educate Humanitarian Foundation is a non-profit, impact-driven organization committed to educating minds, empowering lives, and transforming communities. The foundation focuses on education, human capacity development, youth empowerment, skill acquisition, humanitarian support, community outreach, and sustainable development initiatives. Educate Humanitarian Foundation provides educational support, training, mentorship, digital learning opportunities, and practical empowerment programs designed to help individuals and communities unlock their potential and achieve meaningful progress. The foundation is founded and led by Dr. Victor Akinkunle, founder and executive director, whose vision is to use education, empowerment, and humanitarian service as instruments for positive and sustainable societal transformation. Educate Humanitarian Foundation educates, empower, and transform. If you are with us, can I hear you echoing that with me? Educate, empower, and transform. Can we applaud Educate for this good privilege, making us to come in here in order to tap from the fountain of knowledge from our speakers? If you're happy, let's just see a brief moment that you echo. All right, God bless everyone. In the next few minutes, we are going to welcome our first speaker. All right, please, while we are awaiting our first speaker, we would like to read his profile to know who he is. And with that, if you encourage us to give a more listening here to what is to teach us this night. But before then, let's get to know the topic is to anchor this night, which is reclaiming time, optimizing systems, transforming school productivity, and institutional performance. And that session is to be anchored by our first speaker. All right. Mr. Gideon Ekwebe. Mr. Gideon Ekwebe. Okay, we see here his profile. He's an award-winning counseling psychologist and educational consultant. He is an Indian trained and certified psychiatrist and career analyst. He is a prolific writer and speaker. His publications, including the popular Principles of Career Choice and Leadership Development, have led consultants and leadership development have many lives. Lead consultant, Ascend Stars International Service in Nigeria. Volunteer of Global Teachers Assembly, National Ambassador of Edumastun India, founder of the 360 Counselor Network. Sorry for the breakup. Professional affiliations, a professional member of both local and international bodies, including but not limited to Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, Council Association of Nigeria, Council, International Association of Applied Psychology, USA, American Psychological Association, Asia Pacific Career Development Association, USA, accredited counselors, coaches, psychotherapists, and hypnotherapists, UK. Let's welcome our first speaker, Gideon Ekwebe. You are welcome, sir. Can we applaud him?
You are welcome.
You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Gideon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I sincerely appreciate you for the good job. Good evening to everyone in the house listening to us in all the channels and outlets of this event tonight. It's a great privilege to be here in this great program. And like the moderator said, I'm sure this program is very promising, and we trust that we are here to interact together, learn together, and to get the best from this conference. And to this end, I won't but say a very big thank you to the EduCrest Humanitarian Foundation and the director and founder, Dr. Victor Kinkule, for this great innovation. I also want to say that it's a great one, and I count myself privileged to be part of this event, not just as a speaker, but as a learner myself. And we are all here to learn together in this conference. And I believe that we have great. Again, I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Victor and the team who have put this conference and program together. God will continue to lift the organization higher and higher, and the director and as well as all the members of the team, in Jesus' name. I just want us to have a word of prayer. Father, we thank you very much for this moment. Thank you for the privilege to share together as professionals in the field of education. I pray that in all that we are going to be learning tonight, let it benefit us, benefit our practice, our profession, and make us more productive individuals in our system and in the country and even in our generation, in Jesus' name. In Jesus' precious name we pray.
Amen.
All right, thank you very much. So once again, I want to say you're all welcome, and it's a privilege being here. I'm Gideon Ekwebe by name, as I have rightly been introduced. And for this section, I'll be talking on reclaiming time, optimizing systems for a singular purpose, transforming school productivity and institutional performance. We will all agree as educators and as leaders in the educational sector that if there is anything the customers, our clients are looking for is results, is productivity. And that is what everybody is looking for. And many times, not many people are interested to know what you are doing or what you have done. What people want to celebrate is your success. And in our own case, the success we are talking about tonight is actually performance, productivity, performance. What is the output of our activities and our leadership and our roles as educators, as school heads, as school owners, as nation transformers, as we call ourselves? It is what the result of the activities we carry out in our institution. It is the result, the performance, the output, the productivity that people would often look out for. And that is why the issue on ground tonight for us to discuss is very important. Now, many years ago, when I was, at a younger age, let me say junior secondary, writes a letter, to communicate my parents back in my state. I will have to write, and then the letter will take a long time on the way before it eventually gets to them. And it will also take a relatively long time for me to get feedback over here where I was schooling in secondary school. And over time, things have changed. We are talking about time. Things have changed within the space of time. And today, in fact, I think even this morning, I've had the course to speak with my mother, and then we talked as if we're together. Now, what is happening here is understanding the time, understanding what we can do. Number one, with the time we have, 24 hours in a day. Number two, understanding the perspective of the changing season, the changing time that we are in. Now, we all know that it will take me a lot of effort and a lot of energy. And people will be wondering, if today I have to, to reach my mother or reach my parents from where I stay, I have to write and then have to wait for the answer or the reply to come after many weeks. So we must understand that time has changed as a season. And we must also understand the essence of time, the essence of time, the essence of time, so that we are able to maximize the purpose of that time and be able to achieve productivity and performance in our institutions and schools within the 24 hours we have in a day. I've said that to say that if we are all to still rely on the technology of many years ago to get results, it's going to take a lot of time. And the same way we have classroom teachers today who are still acting like those days. They are dealing with 21st century students, but they are acting as if we're still in the 19th century. We need to reclaim the time. We need to reclaim the season so as to ensure a transformation in our school productivity and as well as institutional performance. Now, I have said this discussion is an interaction, and I want to ask today, as a leader, as a teacher, which one is more productive? Which one is more result-oriented? As an educator, as a leader, as a teacher, as a leader of institution? Is it to work hard or to work smart? Please, can I have your response coming in the chat? the present day productivity, season and time and situation, does it require, which one is more productive, working hard or working smart? So I want to have answers, and I need responses to be sure that somebody is following as we proceed. All right.
Smart.
I think, yes, somebody is saying working smart. Somebody say to work smart. All right. And I have also heard a voice. That's great. I appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the era that working smart is what yields better result. Diligence is not cancelled. Working hard is not cancelled, but it will not give us as much result as working smart will do. And that is the example I just gave us. If I decide to write a letter, take a long time, write the letter, and I'm, very diligent at it, dot all the I's and all the T's, cross the T's, and then I have to send. The letter will eventually get there. But if in this present era, that is what I am depending on, the results that I'm going to achieve are in match with the present era. And this is why it is very instructive that more than working hard, the present day leader, educational leader, the present day school leader, the present day administrator, principal, the present day school teachers and educators must learn to work smart. So, leading smarter, working better will lead to more achievements. And once again, we are talking about reclaiming time, optimizing the system. How do we operate in a system that is already operating at the 21st century knowledge, and we are still working with archaic ideas? We are still working with archaic teaching methodology. I can't imagine a school presently, maybe it's still happening in some places, that are still using the chalkboard to teach, to write, when the world is already working on technology, is already working on digitalization, is already working on AI. It's going to be a lot of dragging back and taking the present day children we are training that should be flying with the 21st century ideas, innovation and knowledge to the 19th, 18th century. That will be very awkward and that will be very weird. So, and that is why we have to optimize, we have to update, we have to reorganize, we have to reset our system to ensure that there is a transformation in school productivity, even in your own classroom productivity, and of course, institutional performance. Now, I don't know if my host can help to share the slide as I talk tonight, so that people can, follow with what we are saying. They will be able to connect, and then you're also able to take some notes. I believe that this lecture or this interaction will be very instructive and very, very important to us, so that we are all connected. So please, my moderator, if you can help to share the slide, please let the slide come on board while I keep talking. Now, I want to say that business, is it equal to productivity? I want to hear my audience. Business, being busy, very busy at work, being very engaged. You are here, you are there, you are there, you are there, you are there, you are doing this and doing that. Does it equal to productivity? Yes or no? Please let me have the comments coming. Or if you can unmute, just unmute and talk to us. Somebody said, not at all. Thank you very much. Not at all. Not at all. Yes, can we have more responses? I'm sure those who are following us on Facebook and those who are following us on YouTube as well are giving us the same response. Not at all. Business, unstructured meetings. Oh, I'm called here. My boss said I should come over here. This one said I should come and do this. It does not equal to productivity. Repeated data entry. I have to write something, and then I write it again, and then I have to write it again, and then I have to write it again. When there is a system where I could type, and after doing the typing, I could easily copy and paste. All right? I could easily copy and paste and even reuse at another time. But, I have to keep writing, and every time I have to input the data again. It doesn't result to productivity. What about, poor scheduling? Scheduling of program, this and that, and then you have to come over it again. I'm busy with this, searching for information, looking for files, looking for things, in my office to use to work, to respond to that and treat that. When this data can be in a better format, in a digitalized format, and I could just type into my system, and then wherever the document is can easily pop up. Can you think about that? And then we are busy giving a manual report, manual writings. We have to write, take long meetings, have to respond to information manually. This would actually keep any staff working hard through from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. or to 4 p.m. as the case may be with your closing hours. It will keep you very busy, and everybody that sees you will know that this person is engaged. But truly, it is not productivity. It is not yielding as much productivity as it should be. And that is what we are here to examine today as school leaders, as as educators, and as people in this industry, irrespective of your institution, whether primary school, whether secondary school, whether tertiary institution. Keeping your day busy with different kinds of schedules and manual reportings and unstructured meetings would actually keep you busy. And then you are here and there throughout the day. But the reality, just like somebody has responded to us here, is that business does not equals productivity. But the equation of productivity is effort plus efficiency plus impact. That is what ensures productivity. I take that again. Effort is made. That's true. There is nothing you want to achieve that you will not, make an effort. Effort has to be made. All right? But that effort with efficiency, and then if impact, what's the result? What have I been able to achieve from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. as a leader, as a school head, as an administrator, as a principal? What have I been able to achieve? The 40 minutes I engage the students with, is it just that I engage them in a talk? I talk about this, talked about this, talked about that, and then at the end of the day, I say, children, we are done for today. Has any impact been made? If there is no impact, sure, there is no productivity in your activity, no matter how engaging, no matter how busy you are for the day. So the question then comes to us. The time we have in a day, where does the school time go? There are people like that. They are busy from morning till night in the office, at workplace, in the school. But at the end of the day, you are going to be asking yourself, what have I achieved now? What have I achieved today? So it is that achievement, it is that impact that, actually determines whether you have made any impact in the classroom or in the place of work for that day. Without the impact, there is no productivity that has been achieved. And so as I present this to you, I want us to look at number one, time. Number two, systems. Number 3, technology. Number 4, people. Number 5, performance. These are the components. These are the transformation framework. Time, systems, technology, people, and performance. These 5 things, if you are going to be productive, if you are going to transform your school productivity and transform your institutional performance, these 5 framework should be your foundation, should be your basis. And that is what this seminar is focused at, this conference is focused at. How do we make use of all of this to be able to bring about productivity, to be able to bring about results, to be able to bring about achievement? That is the essence of this conference. The Educrest Humanitarian Foundation that has brought about this conference wants to ensure that every one of us is achieving, is effective, is productive in our places of work. And that is the essence. So take note of this 5 framework. Time. Number 2, systems. Number 3, technology. Number 4, people. Number 5, performance. What do you do with time? You reclaim the time. What do you do with the system? You optimize the system. You are in a system. You've been working in that school for a number of years as the head of the school, as the administrator. What have you optimized? What changes have you brought in? What are the things that you have seen that are not working, that you have had cause to change? So how can inefficiency processes be simplified? You look at the system. We are going to talk more in details on all of this as we go on. But I want you to get these 5 transformation framework properly. And then you are also talking about technology. You have to digitalize. You have to digitalize. You have to digitalize. Where can technology, where can AI, artificial intelligence, reduce the repetitive work we've been doing? Where is there a way I can computerize, digitize information, the staff record, the students' attendance, the resources and the facilities of the school? Whereas where I can always go there to adjust when I'm making my budgeting, when I am trying to take stock, do I digitalize those information, or every time I have to write and repeat those work all over again? This is very, very important. Then what do you do to people? You empower. How do you improve on your teachers as a school leader? How do you improve on the school prefect as a teacher? How do you improve on the class captain and the students in your class as a class teacher, such that your class room management and the management of your class is efficient, that the school can award you at the end of the year and say, this is the best teacher of the year in terms of classroom management? Are you able to empower those pupils in your classroom? Are you able to empower those people working under you, those subordinates? Are you able to empower them such that they can be able to carry out assignments, and then you are good to go in a team, in a collaboration? You are able to invest all of the soft skills as a leader, harness them, make use of them, and then you are able to empower your team, and then so that you can achieve more productivity. Remember, the essence of your being a leader or you being there in that classroom is to achieve impact, is to achieve efficiency, is to achieve result, is to have productivity and performance. Without it, there is nothing you are doing. You may be there for donkey years, you may be there for a long time, but if there is no productivity and there is no impact, you are, as good as being a kind of, permit me to use this word, useless in that position. So you have to empower the people. Then 5, you have the performance. Even in the performance, do you take time to measure? Do you take time to look at the data of the performance from time to time? We are going to look at all of this one after the other. The thing is that, and I want you to write it down, you cannot measure, all right? You cannot measure performance if your people are not empowered. You cannot empower them without optimizing work. And you cannot optimize work until you reclaim the time to think. I don't know if you get that. So if you got it, can I hear you say, yes, I got it?
Yes, I got it.
Thank you very much. So take it again, and I think the slide is coming on now. That is the slide for the transformation framework. That's where we are right now. You cannot measure performance if your people aren't empowered. One, you cannot empower them without optimizing the work, the system. And you cannot optimize the system. You cannot optimize work. Please keep going up. I'm not yet where you are now. Until you reclaim the time to think. Yes, thank you very much. So we need to understand that very clearly. Now, let's take each of these factors one after the other. Please, can you go to phase 1? And that is what I call reclaim the time. Reclaim the time. Reclaim the time. And in this place, there is a 4D. Number 1, do. Number 2, delegate. Number 3, differ. Number 4, delete. I hope somebody have gotten that. Very important, very urgent, very germane. Please go to the next slide. Reclaim the time. Do it now. That is how to reclaim your time. Delegate. As a leader in the office, as a leader of the institution, you have workers with you. You must learn how to delegate an assignment to the right person. It's not a sign of weakness. There are a number of people who think that, delegating an assignment you have to do as a leader to a subordinate is a sign of weakness. No, it's not. And so, number 3, you must learn how to differ. There are schedules that must be done now, and you must understand what can stay till later. You have 2, 3 things, 4 things to do as a leader on your table. Which one is important? You must classify it. Which one is urgent? You must classify it. So you must understand that there are assignments that are important and at the same time urgent. But there are assignments that are important but not urgent. So the ones that are not urgent, you may need to delay that while you attend to the one that is important and urgent. That way, you'll be able to maximize your time. A leader will not have time to say, oh, I forgot that. Oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, I didn't know about this. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I didn't know I didn't do that. If that leader learns, number 1, to do it now, whatever needs to be done now, don't put it till later. You are a human. You may be working with machine, but you are a human. You can forget. And so you must be able to know how to do it now, the one that requires now, and delegate the ones that can be delegated while you supervise, and differ the ones that need to be deferred till another time, and then eliminate or delete the ones that are entirely unimportant at the moment. So this will make you an efficient, productive leader and educator. Protecting institutional time. Number 1, classroom instructional time. As a teacher, do you have that in your class? Do you have the time to prepare the lesson notes? There are teachers who don't prepare for their class. They only get there and say, that boy, give me your textbook. That girl, give me your textbook. And then throughout the 40 minutes, you waste that time for the students. You won't be productive without finding time to prepare for your lesson. And then time to give feedback. Your instruction, your lesson plan must be well put together. such that you know when to do this, when to do this, when to do that. And also assessment time must be allotted, and as well as student monitoring time. So as a leader, as a teacher, as a class teacher, as a class tutor, as somebody who is put somewhere to assign to take care of a particular class, you must be able to plan all this. As a leader of the institution, you must also be able to put down, what do I have to do today in the order of priority. In fact, some management and administrative laws or theories have told us that as a good leader and as a good school administrator, you must be able to highlight things that you need to get done the next day, today, a day ahead. That will help you not to, bring everything into your timing. And at the same time, it will help you not to hold this and drop it, pick that and drop it. The key point here is you cannot optimize what you do not measure. The goal is to spend more time on what improves students' outcome. Very important. As school leaders, whatever you are doing, you must ask yourself, how does this drive to students' academic achievement? Each year, as you are preparing your students, either at the basic level for the primary school for your children to take entrance examination into secondary school, or at basic for the student to write the basic exam, or even at the SSC level, for student to write UTME, to write WAEC, to write NECO, what you should be asking yourself from day to day, all the activities undertaking now, do they yield, do they lead to impact the student's performance? Very important, very important. And once you are always on that goal, you are always prompting yourself to be sure that all your activities are focused at student outcome and result, definitely you will be able to have a good performance, a good result, and productivity at the end of the day. Now, what's the phase 2? Phase 2 is redesign the system. Already I've talked about the time. I talked about 5 framework. Number 1 is the time. Number 2 is the system. You need to redesign the system. And you need, as a leader, to leave person-dependent, kind of leadership style or operational style to system-dependent. That is the mistake many leaders make. They come into a system and they find, oh, this is Mr. So-and-so. He's very good in doing a particular assignment. And then that is the man they keep bombarding with this assignment, bombarding with that assignment. The moment that teacher resigns from your school, the moment that staff resigns from your school, virtually every aspect of your work collapses. So in this point, we are learning that we should not be we should not run a system that is person dependent. Rather, we should run a system dependent system. All right, you should be able to develop the system such that Mr. A is good. Yes, that's great, to doing this assignment, but you look for at another time. You can say, Mr. B, come and prepare, be the one to prepare the timetable. You can say at another time, Mr. C, Mr. D, prepare the school timetable. When Mr. A, who knows everything, leaves your system, the system is still running. Why? Because you did not develop, you did not design that system to be person dependent, but rather system dependent. The same thing with reporting. You want to report as a leader, you are taking the report in such a way that even when there's a breakage or a person suddenly drops from the system, your system is still able to work and achieve results. So staff who work harder, well, very great. For some leaders, they overwhelm this particular staff. And many times, a lot of mistakes, a lot of, oh, I forgot this, oh, I forgot this. And then you keep calling the Mr. A. Why did you forget? Why did this happen? Why? Because all your system is dependent on that man. We need not run that kind of system. It will not yield productivity as expected. In the same vein, there will be mistakes. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, it's a mistake. Because you are loading that particular person with a lot of work when all majority orders are redundant in the system. But as a leader, we are taking a point from here that you make your system, your school, your institution system dependent. The process is documented, accessible. If I am not in the office, my vice, my assistant, my immediate deputy should be able to know what to do. If Mr. B or C is not in the school on a particular day, the class should not be incapacitated because that teacher is not there. There should be another teacher, another person who can do that work. The register is in a particular place to mark the attendance, some other things. The lesson to be taught has been written over the weekend. The HOD has vetted that lesson note and all of that. And then any of the teachers can pick the lesson note, and then the lesson is going on. This is how to run or design a system dependent structure, and then there will be more productivity. What does it do? Number one, it distributes operational weight evenly. Not that some people are in the system, they are not doing anything, whereas there are few who are overloaded. It will solve that problem. Two, it will free individuals from routine burdens. Number three, it will reduce unnecessary dependence on individual efforts. Please, as a leader, take note of that. Take note of that. It reduces unnecessary dependence. Oh, the day Mr. A didn't come to work, then everybody is asking, where is the chalk? Where is the this? Where is the that? Where is the key to that place? Where is the key to this place? Because it is this one person who has the custody to everywhere. And as leaders, we won't be productive if we run our system on person dependent rather than system dependent, structure. Now, I need a response here from what has been said. I want to know, what have you been doing in your schools or in the place where you're a leader? Can somebody talk to me? Have you been using person dependent system or system dependent system? You can unmute and talk to us. Is anybody talking to us?
Good evening, everyone. This is Mr.
I want to
Ademola.
call on all right. Good evening. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the powerful presentation.
You're welcome, sir.
We're actually enjoying it. Where I think in our own school, God has been helping us. There was a stage or a time when we were fully there, but now we are even outside the country, and there is need for that school to keep running. And it was a major challenge when we were around, as if people that are available will not be able to do it. But eventually we are able to assign them. You can do this, you can do this. They felt they won't be able to do it, but now the school is running even without our presence. So I think it's by making an institution, rather than being person dependent, to be system dependent. So we are able to put things on ground so that people can follow the template, and by the time they are following it, things are running. Thank you.
Wow, that is great. I clap for you, sir. So that is it. So I want us to take this key point away. Institutional knowledge should not live only in people's heads. Please, let's take note of that. Don't put your institutional knowledge into one person and say, just be the only one to be doing it. Let the system run itself. And like you said very well, sir, the fear of every leader is, if I give this thing to somebody to do, will it not fail? It will not. There are many times, if you don't try people, you will not know the quality. You will not know what the stuff they are made of until you bring them out to use them. And that is very instructive. So as I wrap on this point, identify major processes like timetable making, attendance, and some other things in your system that will be able to help your system run itself. We can improve on it. We can monitor. We can map out. We can simplify. We can digitalize. All of this, digitize. All of this will eventually amount to, a standard organization. And you know what? If we process all of this on a wrong system, on a wrong process, and we automate them and we run them on a faulty foundation, at the end of the day, we are going to have a poor result. All right? But let's understand that we must learn that to have a multiple usefulness, a useful output, so that at the end of the day, we're having an output from here, we're having an output from there, and then everything leads to organizational productivity. So number 3 is digitize. All right, I think the system just wanted us to take breath and take water.
Okay.
All right. So please, can somebody confirm if you can hear me so we can continue? We just have a short time left, and then we round off and then move to the second lecture for tonight, please.
I can hear you, sir.
All right.
I can hear you.
I said digitize the work. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Digitize the work. Digitize the work. Starting from your lesson planning to your resource creation, to your automated report drafts, to your data interpretation, differentiated activities. It is very, very important that this work is digitized. Is digitized. So teacher, leader, school heads, administrators, principals, educators, is very instructive that we digitize our work. We are in the age of computer. And every day, time where you say, oh, if I'm not there, I can't get this done. If I'm not there, thank God for COVID-19. And a lot of things came up. And even with what we are doing now, without us being together, we are able to communicate. Our daddy who just spoke to us now, he is outside of the country, or outside of this environment, and yet we are able to connect. So you must take your learning in your school. Whose stage is your school? When I started, I said I'll be surprised if some schools are still using chalk and using something and all of that. Knowledge has gone past that level. It must go to the level where your school is digitized. Your attendance register, your staff coming to work, even without you being there. A lot of things you can be monitoring without a physical presence. CCTV camera now can work on mobile phones. You are far away, yet you can monitor what is happening in the classroom as a school head. You can be in your office and all the CCTV camera are showing you the movement in the school without you having to move here and there. You are working on your table and yet you are monitoring the entire school. Lessons can be digitized. Monitoring can be digitized. That is not to say we are not going to do, movement here and checks and balances over that. Even while you are seated, you are able to see things that ordinarily you cannot see. And then your lesson plans, think of a teacher who have to rewrite the note all over and over and over again. Then look at another teacher who has prepared his slide, who has prepared his lesson plan, and the lesson plan has been installed into the system such that all that teacher needs is to be updating the lesson plan right on the system there. And each time he comes into the class, he clicks on the digital board and then his class has started. From there, he goes into, those days we talk of instructional material, we buy calendar, we buy things, we buy some of those things in the market. The world has gone past all of that. Now you can have, go on ChatGPT and tells you to show you this. Maybe the students are saying, "No, master, this is what it should be. Oh, no, this is what it should not be." And then we can easily go there and then we confirm. You can have textbooks uploaded on your system that you are using to teach, such that you don't need to be, looking for textbooks. Oh, it has misplaced. I cannot find it. Somebody carried it. This way, the teacher will be able to be efficient even in the classroom. The digital learning system, all right, ecosystem has gone far beyond what it was some years back. From classroom to learning platforms, to digital resources, to assessment, to feedback, to intervention, to even to progress monitoring. All of these things can be done on seamlessly, online. And your student can be very far away, and then you are here after you have done the teaching. Then you have the Google form. You give the Google form, and then the student answer the questions. Instantly, you get the feedback. So we must learn to upgrade, optimize technology for our advantage in the 21st century. Learning, take note of this. Learning should not, yes, it is those days where, if I'm not in the classroom, then my students stop learning. No, today your student, you can be anywhere in the world and you are teaching, and every teacher must come to this level. If you are not yet at that level, that is the purpose of this interaction, to challenge you, to challenge ourselves, to say we must come to the level where we must be able to use technology, AI, for our advantage. Then the next phase or the next framework is empower the people. Empower the people. Empower the people. Very, very important. We must empower the people. The learning improvement system should be adopted from assessment to analysis to feedback to reteach and to reassessment. This should be a continuous circle as you engage your subordinate, as you engage the people that are under your system, as you engage with the students, the learners. You must be able to classify them. Oh, after an assessment, who are the struggling students? Then you make provision for remedial support. Who are the average learners? Then you classify them into a group. Those who score maybe 50 and 55, like that. Then you also take the high flyers, those who are 90, 95 and above. These are the ways to classify your students if you want to have results. From there, you can provide an instruction that will help the struggling student to move from FDE to A or to C. That student is making progress, and you're analyzing, you're assessing, you're getting feedback, you reteach again. Then the students who are at the level of maybe C or C at the beginning of the term, at the end of the term, or by second term, you are working on them to move them to B. Then the students who are being on B and students who are A, you are moving them to A and you are making their A stronger. This way, you will be able to deliver results. Don't just work as a teacher and say 40 minutes, the lesson is over, I've covered the scheme, student, bye-bye, see you tomorrow. No, it doesn't end. There must be an assessment. there must be an analysis, there must be an assessment, there must be a reteaching, and all of these students or learners must be categorized, and you must provide an appropriate instruction or support program or guided program that will ensure that all your students are carried along, and at the end of the day, when you are looking at the achievement, when you are looking at the result, you say, wow, my school has improved. My organization has a better performance this year, and so on and so forth. Move from the teacher. We should move from the teacher that will just say, I've covered the topic, to a teacher who will be able to say, have my students learned and are they able to apply? Now, you must also have the following at the back of your mind. Control panel, one, we'll be talking about meeting optimization. You have a meeting to attend. You have, as a leader, you have a group of staff you must know the purpose of the meeting, the agenda of the meeting, the decision points, the assigned responsibility, the deadlines after the meeting. Oh, Mr. So-and-so is to do this. Don't just say, go and do this. Give a time for the deadline. Let's move to the next slide. Give a deadline. Then, even after you have given a deadline, don't say, well, let me watch and see whether they will deliver. No, as a leader, give a message to follow up. Oh, Mr. So-and-so, I hope you have not forgotten. The lesson note you have to submit is on Friday. Today is Thursday. That is what will help the organization to be able to be productive. Not only that, there is a delegation loop in the second control panel. You clarify assignment. Don't just call somebody in your office and give an assignment. The person helping me with this slide, please move to the next slide. That's where I am now. I'm in the next slide. Clarify the assignment. Mr. So-and-so, call the person to your office or give the person a call or chat the person. Let them understand the assignment to be done. Then give the assignment. Then equip the person. If he needs a laptop or he needs something to aid him to be able to carry that assignment, make sure that that person has all the necessary information that he needs to be able to carry out the assignment. Then monitor. What's the progress?
All the audience from YouTube, all the social media handles, please let's remain calm. I guess that's the network interruption from the end of our speaker. We are still expecting our speaker to return.
Sorry, please. I have a little challenge there. I think the
Okay,
network
he's
went
back.
off.
Okay, we can hear you.
So,
We can hear you
and
now.
then
Yeah,
at the
yes,
end
sir.
of the day, hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, sir. We are with you.
Thank you very much. At the end of the day, you mission a loop. So please take note of that. Effective leaders do not do everything. Delegation is not an abandonment. Mr. So-and-so, I've given you this work to do. If you don't do it, that's your cup of tea. No. No, you have to follow up. You have to monitor. You have to equip. You have to clarify what to be done and be able to review how well did the person do it. Was there a challenge? Was there any where you need to help? Or is there any area that needs to be improved upon? That is how a good leader works. So delegation is actually a distributed leader, such that, like Daddy said, even in their absence, the school is running. Why? Because they learned to distribute their leadership skills, their leadership, roles, and this teacher or that person that eventually is able to do this and do that and do that and producing results. So what? That's the performance. The performance. The data to decision pipeline is your impact. The data, the information, the insight, the action, and the results. What gets measured gets managed. Take note of that. If you do not measure your success, after 1 year of doing a school management, you cannot assess your progress. It means that you are not doing well. You must have a data, a statistical data that will tell you, is this organization making progress? The result of the student last year, is it better than this year? What did we do differently this year? What are we going to do differently next year? If it's going to be better next year. And you have to keep going like that. And the only thing that helps you to do that is the data. It leads to better decision. When you have the data, you're able to make decisions. So your student attendance, you should be able to measure that the academic progress and the curriculum coverage of your school. You must be able to measure that. Even you as a teacher, how well did I cover my scheme this year better than last year? How can I do it better next year? The teachers' lesson attendance, development. How many did you do last year? How many are you doing? Must be identified with statistics. This term, 10 students failed in my subject. What am I going to do next time? There must be intervention for improvement. The intervention, is it leading to improvement? You must check that. And then the operation, task completion and resource utilization. How much time did I use? How much result did I get? How much did I input into this operation? What was the result that it yielded? Did I save more money in my organization this year than last year? Was the resources were the resources better managed this year than last year? All of these are the things that will eventually amount to a system effectiveness and productivity and better performance. So we must go from efficient system to learning to better. Your performance, your out, and so when you go that chain, it will eventually lead to a better or stronger institution. Accountability plus support will, at the end of the day, give you a sustainable performance. If you want your performance, a high-performing school does not depend on one exceptional teacher. It develops exceptional system capable people, and collaborative team. In your 30 days, what do you do? Audit your time. What do you do? Identify inefficient processes. That's what we are taking as an assignment from this lecture or this interaction. Simplify and digitize. Then monitor the results you get at the end of the day. I'm sure you are going to come back to EHF and say thank you to them and write it down now. What are you doing repeatedly? What can we delegate as a leader? Please write it down. What technology can we use to make our work, support our work? Write that down. What should we measure more closely? When we do that, I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be able to move to a productive teacher and leader. We will be able to move from a manual individual to a digital individual. We'll be able to move from a reactive person. You're always waiting, a problem has happened. How do we solve the problem? The gen has gone off. Then we are running scatter. All the system and the lights in the classroom switch off. Then, oh, what caused it? And then we are putting fuel. We move.
Seriously, this era, any teacher will know.
To a proactive level where we are now saying, what do we do dependent to a system dependent structure? Report card. Bring me the information. Bring me that attendance book. So a data-driven decision system. Thank you very much for your attention. I believe that I have not wasted your time, but we have been able to learn together. God bless you.
Thanks so much. That was a good one by our first speaker. Please, everyone in the house, can we applaud our first speaker, Mr. Gideon Ekwebe? Can you signal? You can open, probably wave hand to him or unmute your mic and say thank you, sir. Are you there?
Thank you, sir, Mr. Gideon Ekwebe. We enjoyed the lecture. More strength to your helpers. God bless you.
That's great. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That was great. That was a good one. In fact, I've learned a lot from what our first speaker, took us. Said 21st century teachers, leaders, entrepreneurs, pastors, religious leaders of any kind, any angle, any discipline of life, that we shouldn't lead the 21st century people, pupils or students that we are teaching, with the mentality of the 80s and the 90s, with the help of AI. He says something that, AI is not coming to take over our discipline, but rather those who know how to use AI, they were smart and they will take over the work of others. I pray God will help us, that what we have learned this day remain with us in Jesus' name. That was a good one. Talked about reclaiming time, reclaiming season. We need to update. Brothers and sisters, wherever you're watching from in any of the social media, we have to take up the responsibility. So effort with efficiency and impact equals productivity. I'm sure you've gotten something this night which you wouldn't let it go, but rather you implement it in your institution, in your school, in your company, and I believe there will be a great and a tremendous outcome positively in the name of Jesus Christ. Please, while we are anticipating our second speaker, we are going to run off in a moment from now, but the second speaker will soon come up. And then I want to encourage you to stay calm. Please don't quit now. I'm sure your data, that's your bandwidth or server internet will not quit now. So please just spend a time and then listen to the tools that our second speaker is going to introduce to us that we are to deploy in order to optimize and work, in order to ensure that everything that we are doing and all that the first speaker has taught us this night, that we are going to make it effective. All right, let's welcome our second speaker. And before then, we are sure that is going to anchor on the topic AI powered administration, auditing routine tasks, streamlining workflows, and reclaiming leadership time. All right, please let's welcome our second speaker in the house. I'm sure it's already set, dressed gorgeously to speak to us. Let's read his profile now to go through and know Mr. Akinwumi Festus. Mr. Akinwumi Festus. He has a BSc in Education Computer Science and Master's Educational Technology, educator, mastery in learning and performance coach, and entrepreneur. And he's stayed here in the house in order to take us through this section. Mr. Festus Akinwumi is a creative educator, trainer, learning strategist, and performance coach who creates educational solutions and training to help young and adult learners navigate their learning and leadership journey and experience. He specializes in computer science education and educational technology using practical outcome-driven methods to improve learning, teaching, and performance. As a mastery learning and performance coach, he builds competence, confidence, and application through mastery-based critical thinking and problem-solving approaches. He designs coaching and training for academic, professional, and leadership growth, developing thinkers, problem solvers, and value creators. His vision is to transform every learner he encounters from whatsoever point they may be into master learners and leaders of innovation and influence. He believes that with the right guidance and structure, systems, everyone can grow, improve, and achieve meaningful success. His philosophy is that everyone has the potential to be more, do more, and have more. Core areas of Mr. Akinwumi Festus: educational technology, mastery learning, instructional design, performance coaching, teacher training, mentoring, leadership, innovation, learning design, entrepreneurship, critical thinking, lifelong learning. The philosophy of Akinwumi Festus, Mr. Everyone has the potential to be more, do more, and have more. Let's welcome our second speaker, Mr. Akinwumi Festus. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Am I
welcome,
heard?
sir.
Am I heard?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
sir. We are with you,
Okay.
sir.
It's an amazing time to be here again. I'm delighted that all of us have this opportunity and platform to learn, as that makes us better people than we used to be. It's a privilege to be on this call. Thank you to the organizers for the privilege given to me to share a few things with us this evening. And I do want to hope that all of us will have a great time learning together in this event. I want to quickly introduce my slide, how to launch my slide so that we can have a proper presentation of the items we have to discuss today. Okay, today like you have already heard, I'm to discuss on AI-powered school administration, AI-powered school administration, and then what implications does it has? What are the implications for us today? It can help us to automate our routine task. It can help us to streamline workflows and it can help us to reclaim leadership time. So the theme or the focus of this discussion is AI-powered administration, school administration. Now, already we have heard different things from our first speaker, and it underlines some of the challenges that we are likely going to have in schools with the advent of AI. We live in an era where a lot of changes are happening. A lot of changes are happening, and there are major changes. And we cannot deny the fact that these changes are, whether we like it or not, they're going to affect the way we run our schools, the operations. It will affect a lot of things about the way we do our work. And then it then becomes very important for us to have an understanding of what is available for use that can enhance the work we are doing. If we're going to get the best result, then we must pay close attention to what our inputs are, because our inputs are very important to help us have a kind of process or throughput that will eventually lead to a very good result. So we need to pay close attention to what our inputs are, just like in any successful system. You will discover that attention is given to what are the inputs. And once we settle on what the inputs are, it then becomes very, very necessary for us to get the output rightly. Now, I have a question here. Just like I said, we live in times when there are major changes happening around us. Major changes are happening in the way work is done. Major changes are happening in expectation. Now, we had a lot from our first speaker. He telling us that these are times when you now expect that a school will build on systems, not on individuals. Now, you expect that a school will have a kind of automated process for doing things. You will expect that a school will, switch from what they used to do before to now begin to have a better way of doing things. Then it then becomes important then to find out, if we remain in the old era, what happens one day when we wake up and we discover that a major change has occurred, and it's now a kind of threat on the way we now work. It now becomes a threat on our output. It becomes a threat on our income. It becomes a threat on our classroom delivery. It becomes a threat to the way we are working. And then we can no longer meet up. We can no longer run according to the pace as expected. So then it then becomes important for us to find out, what then can we have as tools? What then can we have as, our own edge? I'm talking to leaders. I want us to see ourselves as leaders, and that will help us to properly place this, put this discussion in the right context. Because if we don't have it in the right context, we just feel, okay, maybe they are just talking to some group of persons, and then maybe not this other group of persons. But let me let you know that we are all in this together. All of us working in the corporate, all of us working to influence, all of us working to mold, all of us working in the knowledge industry, in the education industry. We are living in an era where the change is already with us. And then what are the tools that can become our edge? What are the tools that will become your leadership edge? What are the tools that will help you to make the necessary transformation that you wish and desire to make? It then becomes important for us to look at, what are the tools that are available for us to automate our routine task, the things we do every day, the things we already had about systems. When you have a system running, it means that you already have a process to doing things, and you have been doing things a particular way, but you discover that the task, the different things that you have to do, they demand more from you. They already we heard that we shouldn't be working hard, but we should be working smart. So the things you are doing seem to be demanding more from you, seem to be, getting you exhausted. And then it then becomes important for us to understand what can we do? Number one, to eliminate the exhaustion. What can we do to then make sure that the task that we have to do continue to run? Because that's the era we are living in. And then how do we now reclaim leadership? As a teacher, I want you to shift your role from merely being in the classroom to how do I make impact? How do I influence? How do I coach? How do I mentor? How do I shift my role from merely just passing the knowledge and then to transforming the knowledge to something very worthwhile in terms of value? How can you turn, because some of these things actually will not happen if there is no leadership. But unfortunately, the leaders that are supposed to be making this transformation happen, they are stuck in routine tasks. There's what we call a clog. They're having clog in their wheel. They want to run faster. They want to help students to learn. They want to personalize learning. They want to evaluate the way students are doing. But they find it very difficult because, number one, maybe they have a good number of students to attend to. And then they also have a lot of other administrative requirements. And all of these things make it very difficult for them to be able to still provide the leadership that they are supposed to provide to be able to help students transform the way they are learning. And so this is a core, or this is the foundation, this is the introduction to our discussion today. Now, we used to have, before now, in the 18th century, the advent of certain technologies, some of which have changed the way work was done. Say, for example, the electricity and steam. In the 18th century, we used to have energy being supplied through steam, but now we now have it through electricity. What was affected? The physical task was affected, and then no more. At that time, there were no, in a way, autonomy. There was no way of doing things in a kind of autonomous manner. There was no way of doing things the way we now have it done in a kind of being automated and being automatic. And so it then becomes a challenge then. When the change came, it affected the way tasks were done, and then energy was no longer steam. It now became electricity. Now we got to the 20th century. In the 20th century, the computers and the internet came, and at that time, we had we had information exchange now at a higher rate, and then it affected the routine cognitive task that people were doing. At that time, automation became limited, unlike before, when everything was manually done, everything was crude, everything was you have to exert strength to be able to get things done. So when the computer came, the advent of the computers and the internet now made us to now have a kind of routine, certain things were now handled by the computer. Certain things were now processed by the computer and then the internet, and it now became easier to still carry out the task that we needed to carry out. Then next in the century, we now have the 21st century. This is where we now begin to talk about artificial intelligence, the AI that is now the major content of the things that we want to learn about. Now it has now become the major change that has now befallen us in the era we're living. Now, unlike previous technologies that merely automated existing processes, AI functions as an invention technology. That is, it now becomes a system that can not only just help you to automate existing processes, but itself can now generate ideas. Like I was saying earlier, that how do we transform learning from the raw academic form to something valuable, something creativity? That's where leadership comes in. But if the leader is stuck and the leader is not free from the encumbrance of daily routine tasks? How then will he free himself to be able to guide students to turn the things they are learning to creative and then valuable content and valuable information? It then becomes very important for us to consider this concept that we are discussing today. It becomes very important for us to look out for how then can we have a system that can help us, that ideas can be generated, there can be self-improvement, we can scale our intelligence, because this device that is offered to us comes with so much quality, comes with so much resource, comes with so much, particularly intelligence. In fact, the way we describe artificial intelligence, let me begin before I talk about this leadership identity transformation. We have this information that AI has over thousands. It has thousands of intelligences, meaning it now combines several, intelligences together, unlike what a human can do ordinarily. Don't mistake me. We are saying that AI combines, several intelligences, meaning it combines the different intelligences from different people, different concepts, different theories, different things, and then it forms a large model from which it can now glean information. Already we said it can generate ideas, it can generate new ideas, it can create images, it can create different things that were not there before. And so teachers now have a lot of advantages. School leaders have a lot of advantages. They can now turn the things they used to do before, that used to be crude, time consuming, time wasting, they can now turn them to things that are now being systemized, just like we learned about systems. You cannot put them in, have a system of doing some of these things, run the system, run the processes, and it gets things done for you. And then you don't need to have all the, you don't need to tie yourself to all the tasks, but yet you can free yourself from some of those things, and then you can concentrate on leadership. You can concentrate on mentoring. You can concentrate on how do you help children turn the things they are learning to valuable content and valuable substance for them to be able to do what? To create a better life for themselves and then for the community we live in today. Next, I want to talk about leadership identity transformation. Leadership identity transformation. How do we get there? It's a journey. It's a journey, but the journey has to be rooted in an identity. And here's the identity. In the old model, when we look at core value, what are the core values of the old model? Everything was static. Just like earlier we had from our first speaker talking about you having maybe few individuals knowing a few things. So that's one of the challenges we used to have. And when that person is no longer available to profile that particular solution, it then becomes a gap. And so a gap is created because somebody that used to know it all is no longer available. So only a single individual has all the expertise, only a single individual or a few persons know all the answers, and then it becomes very difficult for people to be able to do what they need to. So that was the old identity. And we don't want to base our development, our transformation on that old identity. We want to now base our transformation on a kind of better model, a kind of augmented model that adds to what used to be before. Now, AI has come to actually augment, to add to whatever we are doing. Unlike the static expertise and then know it all of the old model, of the old methodology of learning, in this new one, we now have a situation where it now becomes inquiry-driven facilitation, where you can now ask better questions, find better ways of getting things done, and then get the results that you want to get at a faster pace, with less time being used up to do the things that you need to do, and then you can have more time to do more creative things that you need to do. Now, item number 2, what were the responses to uncertainty? One of the things that happened in the old economy, or rather in the old model, which we are shifting from, is that there is this defensive kind of risk management. We try to defend, we try to put a block around everything, we try to maintain, cover up, we don't want to expose things, we don't want to we don't want to make things to come out because of we're uncertain about the future. We're like, oh, we don't know what will come next. And so we want to try to either defend certain things that would have made us exposed or vulnerable. We now want to secure ourselves and then maintain a kind of appearance of perfection. We have a look good appearance. We have a kind of a kind of we call it a kind of show face cover. I mean, you have a kind of you have a kind of false identity in a way, meaning you are trying to hide beneath a mask. You are trying to hide behind a mask rather, and then that becomes a challenge. Is all fear driven? Is not proactive, and then that is not what we have in the augmented model that AI is offering us, that we want to build our identity on. So number one, now we now have productive inquiry, we have intellectual humility, and then we have public learning in the new identity that we want to build on. Then system design. In the old model, we used to have compliance-based, silent and rigid hierarchies. Just like we're learning DTs the other time, talking about maybe delegation and a whole lot of other things that were the features of those Ds. You can also have a scenario, at that time it was like compliance, but now we're not talking about psychological safety, behavioral safety. You are talking about continuous calibration. You are no longer rigid. You are no longer defensive. You are now adaptive. You are now open-minded to learning. And so this is what we now have in the augmented model that we are discussing today. So when algorithms outperform expert judgment in bounded domains, legitimacy must shift from knowing the most to learning the fastest. So what we are now, the pace that we have now, or what identity we are now introducing is that number one, we now need to learn faster. Not just knowing it, not just the awareness, but now learning faster, having productivity, getting the right things done, and then at the right time. Now, what are the evidences that are available? What are the evidences available for us if we adopt this augmented model that AI affords us? What happens in our classrooms? What happens around us? What happens in the way processes are done and the way deliveries are achieved? Number one, we have the human price. What evidences do we have? It says statistically, significant reduction in cognitive load for real-time response task. We now have a kind of significant reduction, meaning what people now have to do in terms of occupying brain task is now reduced, meaning people no longer have to encumber the brain with what we call cognitive overload. So you don't need to now have what we call overload. It means there's now moderate. You allow tasks are now being moderated. Now look at it. Now already we said it that when from the older generation, from the older centuries that we have transited from and that we have shifted from, what it used to be is that there were no automation. Then at the time we had limited automation. But now the question here is, what price are we going to get? What is the price if we automate? It says it is not about cost cutting. Don't expect that you will reduce cost, but what you will get back is that you will regain. Just like we learned the other in the first discussion, you will reclaim time, reclaim human time. Allow leaders to focus on high leverage work, connection, mentorship, complex strategy. That's it. That's what we get. By the time you reduce the amount of brain or engagement, by the time you reduce the time of physical labor that we are used to do, where we stress it out and we sweat it out, by the time we reduce all of that, we now said you will now have more time to do the things that matter. Connection. You need to do the things that matter. Do the things that matter in your day-to-day dealing and interaction with both students and then maybe staff members or colleagues or the business partners and the people we are working with. So it has now become important for us to consider this tool. So these are evidences that with this we can do more. Another thing is task offloading, meaning you can now have a kind of, look at another evidence here. Here's another evidence that we have from research. Another evidence we have from research is that about 70% reduction of administrative workload. What used to be exhaustive before now, what used to wear us, what used to weary us, we can now have a kind of almost close to 70% of reduction of the things that we run day to day if we now begin to adopt AI. Another thing is we have another estimate here or another value here of about 58% offloading of structured rule-based operations. You offload certain things because now technology runs it. You offload certain things now because technology makes it quite easy for you to handle. Then lastly, we have systemic friction removal. Systemic system removal, meaning about 98.7% of reduction in scheduling. The things you used to schedule every day, and usually as you are scheduling, you're having conflict, you are doing all of these things. Now you now have multi-variation of AI to generate different things that you want to generate for the things that you want to do. Now, as I move closer to the conclusion, I like to talk about 3 pillars very quickly. Already we have talked about some of them. I just want to put them together again so that we can look at what does AI provide. Number one, you look at the systems, the people, the smart systems. And then you look at the smart people, and then you look at the smart results. I've talked about the systems and the results in the first discussion, and also about people too. But now let's now look at how do we now identify systems now first. How do we optimize institutional workflow, removing systemic frictions and reclaiming time? How do we identify the bottlenecks that used to affect our performances in the things we used to do before? And how do we eliminate unnecessary resource consumption? Brain resource is part of it. Other kind of resources that you also use to do your daily work, they're also part of it. How do you now optimize? How do you identify those things and remove all this unnecessary stress and unnecessary wastage of resources using technology, using AI? That's what now comes under the smart systems. Then come to smart people. How do you augment human capacity? The arguments are, our moderator was saying something that AI will not replace whatever. Now, what we have is an augmented human capacity. What that means is that now the AI has come to add to the scope. AI has come to add to the scope of what we can do within limited time. Scope, the much we can achieve within a limited time. AI has now come to add to it. It has come to augment it and thereby reducing cognitive overload, the stress that comes, the fatigue and all of those things that comes because you are exerting yourself. You know what it means to have to maybe manually mark or comment on the performances of different students and all of that. You spend the whole of the time on that. You don't have time to, connect personally with those students. Now, with AI and these technologies that we're talking about today, you can now reduce the bulk, a greater bulk of some of these things that we do. And then we can now have empowering our personal workflow, our personal workforce with AI. That's also one of the things that we need to do with empowering people. So with AI, you cannot empower people. Already we have talked about systems. You have systems now running. You have less frictions. You have less wastage of resources. You have less, you reduce the time you spend, and then you now come to people. People now have, people are free in a way. They are free. They are not stuck. They are not encumbered with the manual processes of getting things done. And now they can now think through, as a trainer, when organizations begin to focus on empowering staff members and all the people that work with them with these technologies and these tools, it then becomes a standard. Everybody sees it as a standard. Everybody accepts it as a standard. Nobody questions it because the authorities and the leaders and all the people involved, the stakeholders involved in maybe decision making, and now investing in that aspect of training, then people become smart, and then you cannot have smarter people from that. When you train people to use AI, when you train people to see the value, when you train people that they can now reduce the bulk of time they spend burying their head trying to do things manually, now they can within a few moments generate ideas, generate things they do every day, automate them, and then get better results that they want to get. So just train the people. That's what we're saying. Train the people, make them smart people, and then help them to do their work better. Then smart results. Like I said, your input matter. If you are going to look at if you're going to look at your output, your result, then you have to look at why you should invest in AI. You should look at why you should bring this augmented model and all the qualities and the features it offers and all the resources it brings to be able to do the things that you are doing. So we're now driving superior institutional outcomes through adaptive, personalized, equitable, and learning opportunities. As teachers, you now have opportunity to personalize learning. You now have opportunity to evaluate what you are doing with students on individual basis. You now have opportunity to adapt things that are helpful, technologies and tools that are helpful, and then you can now use the bulk of the time to do connections, to do the things that help students to transform what they are learning to what is actually valuable. Because that's actually one of the things that we need to step up in our African economies today. We need to step up on how much we are helping students to convert the things they are learning to become valuable, to become more creative, and more valuable offers that the society can now use to solve the different problems that we are bedeviled with. Now, system providing infrastructure. So here is a summary of using the pillars, using the smart systems, using the smart people, and then developing the smart people, training the smart people, and then also generating smart results. System provides infrastructure. You now have something to work with. You have tools to work with. You have technology to work with. Then people provide a judgment. Meaning, take for example, maybe by ourselves, by our manual process, maybe we could only generate. Take for example a teacher in the class. You want to generate teaching objective, and then you maybe by yourself by trying to rack your brain and all of that, you're able to generate maybe five objective when you have a topic to teach or something, and then you want to generate some quiz questions, or you want to generate this or that, whatever you want to generate. Maybe as school leaders, you want to generate reports. You want strategies. You want trends and all those things. You have an infrastructure now. The systems you have created with AI can now allow you, or the systems you have provided with technology can now allow you to have infrastructure to run those things. Then people now provide judgment. People now have a variety of data to now work with to provide judgment that they need to provide. And then lastly, we now have results. Definitely from the combination of all of these things, you can now have better results, doubtless. You can now have better results. I can assure you, you can have better results from the synergy of the smart systems, the smart people, and then you have the outcome of smart results. From pillar 1, we see smart systems and intelligent automation. What are the variables? What are the things that changed? Well, what are the things in the manual? In the manual status quo? What are the things that used to be? Room availability, teacher workload, student needs. A lot of things, encumber the teacher. The teacher is trying to fix all of these things in the variables, but they can change. They can change if we now can learn how to undo the process. What are some of the processes we used to undo before now? And combine reporting, you have to bury yourself and dig it out and get things done. Number 2, you have a kind of reactive resource allocation. Things are not flowing. There's no flow because you are trying to struggle manually to get things done. Siloed knowledge bases, meaning things are not connected. There's no connectivity. There's no synergy in the way things are done. But when you now begin to orchestrate and engineer the results that you want to get, the outcomes you want to get using AI, what are the things that you now get? You now begin to drive certain things. What are some of these you can drive? You can drive timetable generation. You can draft automated routine. You can have proper communication. You can have instant draft generation. We're going to look at some of those AI tools or AI models that can help us to generate some of these things that we can use to do some of these things that we want to we are automating and we're talking about very in a very smarter manner. Now, processes. Instead of now with AI, we now have dashboards, we have aggregated data. You have a lot of tools now that can help you to do different tasks, different decision making. You now transform from being reactive to becoming proactive. Now, another thing, what then are the results? Number one, we have frictionless operations. There's no more friction. Now, some of the frictions actually come from exhaustion. People are exhausted. People are using their brain resource so much that they become frustrated and there is fatigue, there is stress, there's all kind of things on the human. But now with technology, you can reclaim the strength and the capacity people have to do the things that they have to do. What are the core principles that we have in this? Number one, we have technology is the enabler. Time is available now. Our price, we win time to ourselves, and then strategic thinking then becomes the ultimate. Meaning, you clear all the encumbrance, and you cannot have time for proper thinking, proper planning. You have data already to work with. You are seeing the evidence. For example, you are doing analysis. You are doing analysis after a particular test or an exam. It becomes easy. There are models, there are opportunities. You can get some of these AI tools that can help you to do analysis, data analysis. Put things, input data, and tell it to generate certain things, and tell it to give you recommendations. It now gives you something that you can now work with. Then you now have time for proper implementation and then actualization of the things that you want to achieve. Pillar two, well, looking at how do we augment humans? Like already I said it, it's no longer about one individual knowing all the answer, but now we have a system where the answers are now, they are now something that is more of, inquiry based. People now have opportunity to ask more questions and do the things that they want to do. So we have data processor rapidly synthesizing information beyond individual capacity. That means you now have information that you can combine beyond the usual capacities of the I'm not saying that the human brain is less in terms of giving you delivery, but you now have something that can now gather we call it the weightlifting. Let technology do the weightlifting. Let it help you do all the dirty job and gather all the things then the human can now sit and now do the basic things that need to be done. Then first drafter, you offload, like I said, you offload all the things that are irrelevant, and then you can now have a thinking partner. You have a platform where you can now brainstorm. You have a device that can now brainstorm with you. You can request for brainstorming features and ideas, and then all of these will now help you to be able to advance in whatever you are doing. Now, here are some of the ethical issues that we have to look at. The educator as a human, we now have time to focus on empathetic connection. We now can make judgment. We can now relate our work to things that are relevant and things that are creative and of more value than what we used to do before. So once you have this identity theory demonstrated, you can now begin to get your capacity amplified. You have shifted from what used to be. Now you are now like the one that decide how certain things are done, and you can now have quality in the things that you now do. Now I have activation. How do we now activate the pyramid? What is the human loop? We say that the human is involved, so the human is not exempted. To effectively lead, we must establish a deliberate human in the loop policy. The AI processes, but the human disposes. That means the final judgment is still with the man, the human, the human using the device. This maintains accountability and translates raw computational output into meaningful institutional insight. Meaning, the human is involved. That's why usually it is advised that we should it's like a each time you are doing something, you say we are co-creators, we are co-managers of these, we are doing this together. And so once it gives you something, you cannot decide. That's one of the things that we can do with AI. You can decide, oh, this is not what I want. You can give it some further instructions and say, oh, you are missing this point. That's not the context I want. And then you give it another context. You can reframe the context. So humans are now involved to be able to now decide on how the processes are done. There's contextual judgment, there's ethical oversight, and there's final approval. So the humans are the ones involved in all of those things. You are the one that put in the moral reasoning. You detect the anomaly because you are observant. Meaning you don't just take everything it brings and you just absorb it. You know, today I'm going to talk about some of these platforms just very briefly. You know, today we now talk about some of these platforms as, you know, some of them we said there are some of them that when they don't have the correct information to offer, there's one thing they do. They normally create new information that will not be relevant to the things that you are doing. So they just create information that will not be relevant, and then they create a kind of confusion that you don't want to. But if you are there to detect that, if you are there to give the approval, if you are there to do a kind of ethical oversight, if you are there to do the moral reasoning, when things are going out of, you know, morality, you do the reasoning to you know, adapt the device back to what you want. So that becomes an imperative. You are part of the process. The humans are part of the process to get the results that we want to get. The last part is the smart result and the adaptive scale. You can now scale. Once you know the things that you can change, then you begin to use them and change the result that you want to have. You can personalize learning at any scale. You can easily, you know, identify people's learners' need, and help them identify the things they can change, the things they can transform in their learning. You can help them through their journey of learning, and then it becomes very unique in the things that we are doing to help students. Now, there's evidence-based instruction, meaning you can now have data to make certain decisions that you have to do. Equity in action, you can identify and support vulnerable, overlooked students. Now, the people that before now, maybe because of busy schedules and all of that, you don't have time to attend to their personal developmental needs and issues. So, but now you can once you the result, the data is there before you. The data tells you what is not working, and then you can easily work around it with these technologies and the recommendations it provides for you to fix the things that you need to fix. So, summarily, we have the system, we have the people, and we have the result. When we focus on human intuition and algorithmic information, we stop chasing the next crisis. We just stay there and we learn. That means we leave the uncertainty of the future, and then we now stay and we learn. We move from reactive management to anticipatory leadership. We can now anticipate results. For example, you can measure performances. As students are learning, you can measure performances with some of these systems and some of these tools that are available. You can measure performances. It can tell you progress. You can measure progress level in the course of doing the things that you have to do. Organizations successfully navigating AI disruption change now build systems that learn from themselves. So that's the summary. AI learns from it. That's why it's called machine learning. It's learning from data, learning from you, learning from your inputs, learning from the things that you're doing, and continuously it's giving you feedback, and there's loop of observation, reflection, and precise action. So the device is becoming adaptive to you and to the things you do. So you can synthesize all of these things and get a better result. So that gives us that. Now, what are some of the trust, the foundational trust or the foundation trust we can put in place? There's human-centeredness. That means humans should serve human dignity. Anything that is outside that should not be acceptable. There's accountability. Systems must be robust, secure, and fully auditable. You don't just, like I said, make sure the things that you are using technology to do becomes something you can audit, something you can question. Oh, why is this? Why this? Why not have this? And you can do all of those things and enhance the outcome. Fairness and equity, and then transparency, and so on. Now, what are the action plan? How can we help ourselves through this thing? Number one, the workflow audit. Begin to map out with your team the things that you do. Identify your top 3 tasks, the things that are repetitive in the things you do, the rule-based task, and the administrative task. Then ask yourself a target question. Which friction points can we automate first? Meaning, we're not saying beyond the manual process. Let's begin to ask ourselves more closely, what are the things we can change from the repetitive tasks, the things we do every day? Systems will help you handle those things. The rule-based, the things that have rules, and then you have been rigid and all of that. You can begin to look at how things can now be, handled in manners that there will be less frictions and all of that, and then that. Then the ethics check. Review existing institutional tech, the policies about technologies, and then where there are certain things you need to begin to adjust, meaning what are international frameworks, then adjust your policies to that. Maybe your policies to be maybe we don't use this, we don't allow this, we don't allow students to touch this, we don't allow students to use internet, we don't allow students to do this and that, we restrict the access and all of that. But now let's begin to look at international frameworks, how other people are doing it well and they're getting the result they're getting. Then evaluate safeguards for data privacy and algorithm fairness. Now, where are the gaps in our current governance? The way we are leading, what are the gaps that we can fill using AI? Now, the capacity assessment. You can do survey readiness, you can do digital literacy, you can do emotional attitude towards AI. Test all of these things. Are we addressing the fear of replacing the promise of augmentation? Meaning, now when you want to introduce AI, there is this clarity you need to create or need to allow everybody to have. And what that means is that you need to allow them to have a kind of fearless approach to it. It's not about the fear, it's about the learning. So that's why we said it's not about the fear, it's about the learning. The things you cannot do, make a list. That's what we said in the first audit. Make an audit of the things that you want to do, the things you want to automate, the things you want to switch from what it used to be before to what you now want it to be. Find out all of those things and then find out how you can now begin to one after the other address all of this without fear, but with learning. Keep learning. As you keep learning in the journey, you master the things that you need to master. Make them very simple for yourself. Put them in different chunks. Start with the first thing, the basics. Learn the basics. And when you learn the basics, you move on from there and then you learn the other things that you need to learn. I'm trying to run through before I allow us to say one or two things that we have as benefit of all. So number 2, imbibe the practice. Start small, start smart. A lot of us are already doing great things with AI and all of those technologies that are available for us. We need to do more and then focus on augmentation, meaning don't allow all the decision making to be the device, but make sure you set the measurement and all of those things and focus on augmentation, meaning you should augment, not to take the whole rule, like we see in step 3. Enforce. So these are the things you can do. Number 1, do an audit. Make the thing clear. Make it clear to everybody. This is what we are doing. We are setting new standards and want to ensure everybody come up, everybody upgrade, everybody have a shift, and then you now begin to imbibe it step by step, and then enforce the human in the loop. Make sure everybody maintains the tools and the protocols, and then you define exactly who finalizes whatever. As humans, you must be in the loop. You don't just allow the decisions to be made by the AI alone. Share stories of impact. There are a number of impacts that we have already around us about the people that are advancing the things they're doing with AI. Now you move from pure data to reporting. People can now turn things they have. Now that's transformation. Now that's the transformation there. As a teacher who used to struggle, how a teacher engaged a student, a struggling student, and now leaders reclaim now. So share some of these stories. If you have started using AI, begin to tell others about some of the benefits that you are now having, what time it frees you, and what space you now have to do the things that you need to do very well. You can build a playbook where somebody was talking about how you can now, document things. Yes, you need to do that. Build a playbook where you systematically document learning. What are the successes? What are the failures? What are you codifying? Codify leadership. Makes it easy for everybody to come. Okay, when you come, you pick this up. This how to do this. Like this. These are the systems we are actually talking about here. You build the system. You build the playbook that everybody comes. Even if anybody leaves, the systems are still there, and everybody that comes in learns within a few days or few weeks, and then the person can now move on to do the thing he needs to do. Continuous calibration. We need to keep calibrating. Just like if you're using a particular tool and that tool is now becoming maybe weak, the bolts are going out, the nuts are this and that, you need to fasten it again. So you need to keep calibrating, continuous calibrating, continuous learning, make new discoveries, do ethical interrogation, check new platforms and all of that. And then as we move on from there, we will be able to do the things. Now, the anticipatory leader. How do we become anticipatory leaders? Going from control to anticipation, going from hierarchy to credibility, going from rigidity to adaptability. Technology, like we said, will not replace the educator, but educators and leaders who proactively harness AI will replace those who do not. So it's time for us to reclaim our time. It's time for us to reclaim our systems. It's now time for us to augment our potential. Now, before I go out, I don't know if my screen is seen. I'll just talk about some of the sites where we can have some of these tools that we want to use. And now, like I said, some of them will require you to actually learn. You need to learn the protocols and some of the way the things are done so that you can handle. Now, we have ChatGPT for maybe drafts, ChatGPT, OpenAI, DeepSeek rather, and then ChatGPT, they can help you, they can afford you with draft. Maybe you have a draft to compose and all of that, they can help you handle that. Then there are some of them that can help you with, different things. You go to gemini.google.com, you have some other features like you have some kind of creativity and on and on and on. So you can use some of these things. You have some of these visual, some of these things can generate visual, some of them can generate images, some of them can and on and on and on like that. We have some of these opportunities. For example, this is Gemini. This is gemini.google.com. It's one of the features. It says you can make it a personal assistant. You can prompt. Now, before I round off, I'm going to talk about prompting very, very importantly, because the prompting actually decides the outcome. The prompting determines the outcome. Now, there are different frameworks that are available for prompting. There are different frameworks depending on the one you're choosing. But I'm going to talk about two. There's two here, but in summary, all of the prompts that you can have, all of them in a way, they have a kind of similar kind of approach to engineering. They have a different kind of, they have a kind of almost similar approach to the engineering of your prompt, of your instruction. Prompting is just like giving instruction to the AI model that you are using to do whatever you want to do. There's this model prep, PREP. PREP stands for P for persona, which is the expert. Persona is expert. R is the request. E is exemplar, and P is parameter. Now, what that means is that if you are using the prep framework to prompt, you want to tell the device to assume a role. You give it a role. You say maybe as you want to give it a role. From starting up, you tell it to assume a role of maybe a trainer, a role of a coach, a role of an artist, a role of a psychologist, a role of a counselor, a role of a teacher, a role of a doctor, a role of... You want to assume different roles. That's what persona does. You want to assume the role of an expert to solve the problem you have to solve. Then the request. The request is like, give it a task. You have a task you want it to undo, and you want it to do certain things. You give it a task to do. That's in your request. Then exemplar. Exemplar is you want to create a context. You want to give it context to work with. Meaning, you want to tell it, okay, these are the people who are focusing on. This is the background, like a background to the problem that you want to solve and all of that. Then the last one is parameter. You need to specify, create the boundaries to which your whatever you are doing, create the boundaries around it so that it will not just go around doing what you don't want. Then there's another framework here, bridge framework, BRIDGE. BRIDGE is another framework. There's prep, like I said earlier, prep framework, and there's also bridge framework. What is bridge? The first B is background. The R is a request. The I is the input. The D is a deliverable. The G is a guardrail. And the E is evaluation. A lot of frameworks are available for us. Different people have put out different frameworks that we can use to do whatever we want to do. So I'm trying to wrap it up quickly. Now, the B, the background. Now, let me say this to us, that the slide I actually used for my presentation was generated by NotebookLM. NotebookLM is another language model that allows you to create different things. Now, unlike the other kinds of AI models that are available, now NotebookLM allows you to be able to I think it's a co-development or a co-whatever of the Google Gemini 2. What it allows you to do is it allows you to create a kind of source. You can have a source for the work you are doing. You can have a source you can reference, meaning you are the one that source for the materials. You don't allow the AI to use its own model, its own the several billions of content it has in its database. You don't allow it to use it. You are now the one that will now decide what are the resources that will be used, and then you allow it to use it. Then that's NotebookLM. Now, let me just talk about bridge, and then I'll round off from there. The first one is background. Now, assuming I want to do a presentation today, all I need to do, if I'm in NotebookLM, I haven't gathered all the relevant resources. Maybe I got some textbooks, I got some journals, I got some articles, I got some books, I got different things on the topic I want to speak on, or the things I want to do, the problem I want to solve, the subject matter, and all of those things. Then I make them sources in my notebook LM. Let me just show us that very quickly. Notebook LM. If you can see my screen. Notebook LM. Let me quickly show that. You have your source. You can generate sources. Okay, let me use it again. You can generate sources. Okay, here is mine. Let me just use this. This is Google Gemini. You can generate sources. You come here, you create a new notebook, or here you create a new notebook. Let me assume I'm creating a new notebook. Then it says I should give it a source. These are places I can upload sources. I upload sources, and then I add them here. Once I add them here, it will say I should go to where the sources are. Once I bring them up, I add the sources, and I give it a name for whatever project I want to do. And then it stores up, it locks up the information. That's the value of Notebook LM. It will lock up all the resources that you're putting, and then you can tell it to do a summary. You can type here, tell it to generate this, generate that, and all that. Now, by the side here, you have a studio where it can generate the output. You have your slide deck, you have your audio, you have your video, you have map, you have different things that you can generate, images and all of those things from the content that you have added here as sources, and then you use all of these things to get the results that you want to get. Now back to our prompting before I finally wrap up with that. So this is a platform you can use. Then there's a recent one. Myself, I'm just learning, but the Claude AI also works similarly to this. You can, Claude is actually very, very advanced. It's very advanced. It's a technology that is doing greatly. It has opportunity for you to, just like our first speaker was talking about, you repeating. When you come up again, you have to do the thing again afraid. No. What you do is in Claude and even these two, it creates all the resources, put all of the resources together, create tell it what you do, tell it the tasks you are running and everything, and immediately you can tell it all of that. It will now begin to stop. It will begin to learn how to give you the result that you want to get based on the things that you are requesting from it. So I want to close with Google with the bridge now. I want to close with the Google Gemini with bridge framework. That's actually interesting. We can learn from that. The background for me now. I want to say this. I said I am now. The first thing is that the AI model does not know me, so I want to make it know me. I want to tell it who I am. That's the first thing I want to do. So B is background. I want to tell it, look, I am an educator. I am an educator, and then I am passionate. I am passionate about teaching and helping students learn and navigate through challenges and all of that. So okay, sorry, I just wanted to clarify something. Okay, so I'm passionate about these and I want to tell you what I do. Then request. Now I haven't told it my background, and then navigate through their learning process. Now I've given it a background with my background, and I want to make a request. Extract maybe a 5-step approach to maybe something I want it to do. I tell it to, okay, 5-step approach to help struggling students master mathematics, for example. Mathematics. So with that, now I've given it a task. Then input. Now in the input, I cannot tell it, I can give it additional information and tell it, okay, here is the context. I say, okay, the students
That
maybe I have a
Hello?
percentage of whatever they have done.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, please to interrupt. For me, I don't know about others, but I'm not seeing your screen. Follow what you're doing.
Okay, pardon
You're
me.
currently on your PowerPoint.
Okay. Let me see if I need to switch that. Okay. Maybe we can just participate later on. I'm actually maybe later on I can drop the process to that. I'm actually demonstrating how to use a bridge framework. I'm on Google. I'm on Gemini. I'm on gemini.google.com. I'm using that platform to platform to adopt the bridge framework that I am doing, and so that is what I am actually trying to implement. So maybe personally we can just do that on our own launch.
Okay.
Google
I was
does.
thinking if you could share that your window.
yes, now share your window with us.
Okay,
If you
let me
can
see.
share it, you drop this one. Stop.
Okay. Let me stop this one. It's okay.
And then share the very one you're
Okay. I think
typing.
I've seen. Okay, I think I've seen that. All right, I've seen it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if I'm seeing now.
Yes, sir. We are
Yes.
seeing.
Yes.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
Okay, so I was just talking about using the bridge framework. Now I said I am an educator. I'm giving it background. Now the bridge framework is background, request, input, deliverables, guardrails, and evaluation. I said I am an educator. I am passionate about teaching and helping students learn. Helping students learn. Now it's very important for us to do the first prompting very well. Because if you don't do the first prompting very well, you will not give it direction to be able to apply the things that you want it to do or the solution you wanted to create. So the first prompting is always very, very important. So as much as you can, take your time, engineer the process properly, do it properly, and make sure you have right frameworks. You may not master the framework in the first time, but as much as you can, as much as you practice over and over, you will get to get to master the framework, because that is actually what makes you a master at using some of these technologies that we are talking about. So I said you should I said you should extract five actionable extract 5 steps, 5 actionable steps. Okay, 5-step approach to help me struggling student master mathematics. Then maybe I want to give it a context. Now that's input. Now I want to give it additional information about the user, and I'll say the students had to, maybe because of they are struggling, they had to retake a maths exam, a mathematics exam in the last academic session. Then deliverables. What do I want it to now do? I want it to now tell me, give me desired output. So I've already said that earlier. I said give me extract 5-step approach to help them. So that's a deliverable. Then guardrails. What do I specify? The what not to do. If you don't tell the model what not to do as guardrails, setting the boundaries, then you will not be able to get what you expect it to give you. So you have to specify the what not to do, so you mitigate what we refer to as hallucination. Hallucination, like I said earlier, when AI does not know or does not have an idea or is lost in terms of not flowing with what you are requesting it to do, then it will just go and generate anything. That's what we call hallucination. It will create new information and just give you that, and those information may not be relevant to you. So you need to do a lot of things, like you specify what not to do and what to do. You tell it to strictly, maybe let's give it a line of instruction. Just strictly apply
AI.
the outcome. Strictly apply the outcome to struggling students in, maybe I want to say, in low cost struggling students
In 3 minutes.
in low cost environment or something. So I want to give it more context to work with and all of that. Then finally, evaluation. Then I want it to now do the last thing so that I can now check. I want to check. Finally, I'll check the validity of the outcome to determine.
Yes, sir. 3 minutes. He wrote this one. He wrote another one. He wrote
the
see another one here.
output. So let's now prompt. I've already low cost, okay, low cost environment and all of that. So I'll check the validity of the output to do. That's my final evaluation and all like that. So let me now quickly ask you to do what I have requested. I think we can go back on our own to master this. Just go through the bridge framework. Go through the bridge framework, and then you'll be able to get the result. Now, this is something it has generated for me, rebuilding mathematical confidence in students and retaking the student and all that. So it has given me some 5 points in steps. They're giving me some 5 steps tools, giving me the things that I need to do. I have just requested for these, and then this is what it has given me. Now here are further things I can also use. It says I can create a printable micro mastery tracking template, and I can also design a 5-minute diagnostic grid for maths fundamental, and so on and so forth. Now, maybe you need to copy this out and then maybe to take it to some other platforms that can generate the kind of outcomes or outputs you want to generate and on and on. So I think that's what makes the difference. So I like to just entertain 1 or 2 questions if anybody has any questions before, because our time is already fast spent. So just keep mastering the process, do more practices. Let's do more practices and then see how we can master. The goal is to master the usage of these devices, and then we'll be able to help others who also need to learn these things that we are talking about. There are a good number of them. So with time, like we said, be open to learning, be open to exposing yourself to some of these things. And the more you are able to get some of them, the better you are able to get outcome. There are some of them that are for image generation. Okay, Gemini can also generate image. It can analyze images. For example, you get a chart. You can bring a chart here and upload it from here and say, okay, I want to, you want to upload an image. You want to upload a particular image. You want it to evaluate. Maybe you got a chart about the performance of this and that. You want it to evaluate that. You can also give it that image to evaluate, and it will evaluate the image and give you the give you the analysis of that. You can also evaluate different things. You can evaluate different things and get the results that we can use for whatever we want to do. So if there are no questions, I think I want to stop now. Please.
There is,
Okay.
Mr. Kinwumi.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much for that beautiful presentation. And I want to actually appreciate the organizer of the program, EHF, for making this available to us. A lot have been said about AI and how it can simplify our work and improve our productivity. There is one point I want you to please clarify or probably tell us how to go about it, and that is automation. If we have been doing something over and over, it's something we do repeatedly, and then we want to use AI to automate it. How do we go about that, please?
Okay,
Say for
now
instance, okay.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. If you have got my point, you can.
Okay, so we talked about automation. Now, like I said, some of these platforms already have some built-in memories. They have
Okay.
built-in memories that can store the things that you're doing. Now, I cited Claude, for example. I have Claude here. Let me try to launch Claude. Let me see if I can launch it from here and just show us a little bit of that. You need to, this one, I have a downloaded version of Claude. So if you want to use Claude, let me try to share my screen again. We have Claude. Even Notebook LM. Notebook LM is another one too that allows you to do that, automating things. Meaning you can. Now there are different degrees actually. There are different degrees to that with different technologies. So if you master these tools, if you master more tools, you can now have more tools to combine to get the results you want to get. Because, like I said, some of them are there are some of these models, some of them are multimodal, something multi-mode in the sense that, like this Google Gemini now. Google Gemini is multimodal in the sense that it can analyze images, it can analyze text, it can analyze videos, it can analyze audio, it can analyze charts, and a whole lot of other things like that. Now, and then it can help you generate some of these outcomes from the things that we have talked about. But in the case of Claude, Claude also can help you do what I just said. This time around, you create projects. I don't know if I'm still seen. I'm on the screen now. I don't know if the screen is still visible. Okay, let me see the screen again. Okay, where's Claude? I don't think I'm seeing Claude. Okay, let me share entire screen. I think this is your share. I don't know if it is seen now. I don't know if it is seen. Okay, this is Claude, for example. I don't know if Claude is seen now. You come to project. Now
Okay.
from project. Oh, am I connected? It says try again. Okay.
Yes, we can
Okay.
see it now.
Now it says new project. Now these are some of the things you can do to automate. New project, for
Alright.
example. You
Okay.
name a task, maybe administrative routine. Administrative routine. Now it says I should describe what I am trying to achieve. Then I can now say I want to automate my administrative task, including report generation, including report generation, program scheduling. Let's name more tasks. What are some of the administrative tasks? Monitoring. Maybe you want to do maybe leadership or monitoring or supervisory, kind of supervisory role, monitoring, and so on. Now, let me just stop that. I think you can update it later. Then I want to create a project now. So each time I now come here, I don't need to repeat what I am doing. It already has an idea of what I want to do. Now, project. Here it says project memory will show you after a few. Okay, so it says here I can add. So this is where you can now build a kind of do you call it repository of information. Now it says you can add PDF or text or whatever to reference for this project. Now I want to add different things that I think will help me to be able to give. So that means before this, maybe you need to find out what are the relevant materials that can be helpful for you to do the things that you want to do. So each time, instead of repeating the process, just come to your routine and then it says, how can I help you today? Then you now tell it this, in addition to maybe previous instructions and all of that, then it cannot begin. So, but all of these things come with mastery though. With mastery, you can now know what to do. There are some things that there are still a lot of learning too in Claude. I just started using Claude too. Like maybe somebody just showed it to me. I've been using Notebook LM. Maybe some of the things, like I said, I generated the presentation slide too using Notebook LM, and you can see that it was very colorful. I just uploaded materials to it, and then it gave me that. It did most of the weightlifting, and then I just got there, generated the slide, and then because I knew the materials and all of those things, I was able to upload that, and then it made it easy for me to be able to navigate through the things and the information and do the presentation that I needed to do. But Some of these things, some of them come as paid options to allow you to access some more advanced features that you want them to access. But there are still free versions. Some of these things are free. Then you can upgrade if you now have more, demanding task to do. Maybe you now get to learn more about these features, and then you now know how to now undo more tasks and do more things and get more results depending on the task that you have to handle. If the free options or the free versions will not be able to serve you anymore, then you cannot think of maybe going advanced to the paid option so that you can now have something different or something more of higher quality so that you can get higher results that you want to get. So I don't know if that answers your question, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank
I
you very much, sir.
appreciate
So,
that, even
so you
that
can
little demonstration. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. So you can
Mm.
add the different materials that you have. Okay, let me just see if we can add something here. Let me see if I have some official things here that I can bring up. So there are quite a number of things that we can do here. So leadership. Maybe let me just say something about leadership. Let me see if I can. Okay, the art and science of training. Okay, let me see this. I'm adding an information to it. So you can add more sources and it will use it to do the things that you want to do. So the automation that we're talking about here also is advanced. Now, automation also is in stages. Automation can be the development of a particular application. Automation can be the development of like this one. Now, this one is a simple something. It's a simple process that it has done for us. That's instead of me coming back again to repeat the same prompting, it already has an idea of what I do. So it will just follow my previous instruction and then now adapt it to the new things I want it to do. But there are some of these things like we have had. Some of them can also generate maybe codes, lines of codes, code snippets for you, and you can use those code snippets. Like I mentioned in one of the slides, that is now about who is faster, who can do it faster. All of these things you can prompt it if you know how to prompt. You can prompt it, discuss some of these things. Like I said, some of the platforms are paid anyway. You discuss with it, tell it what you want to do, give it idea, give it background, give it context, give it all those information. And with all of the things, you can now get the result that you want to get as you prompt it. Then you just copy the code, adopt it, launch it. Before you know it, you have a site running. And then with the internet and everything, with the computer in place, you can automate the things that you want to automate. If they have gone beyond what the AI model that you are using can handle for you, you can create your own system. Today, we have people creating AI agents, people creating AI assistants, creating different things that they are using to do the different things they are doing, dependent on the task that they have to handle. So our tasks may differ. But for here, we're talking about academic task. So we may not need too much. This thing can generate your daily, if you're a teacher, it can generate your notebook, your lesson plan, it can generate your quizzes, it can generate exams, it can generate analysis for students, and it can generate a number of things that you can use to do the things that you want to do. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so moderator, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. That was a wonderful one. Our second speaker has done justice to that very topic. Please, everyone in the house, can we applaud him? Can we applaud him? Yes, thank you. I'm seeing hands. Can we do more? Can we do more? Thank you so much, Mr. Akinwumi Festus, for that wonderful section. I want to say that we have learned a lot. We have learned a lot. I want to encourage every one of us here. Thank you once again for staying till now, and also our first speaker, Mr. Gideon Ekwebe. They both have done justice to each of the topic they handled. He said we should work smarter, not just to be busy. And the three pillars of leading smarter by our second speaker says we should, embed smart systems, smart people, and then we will get smart results. I pray God will help us in Jesus' name. Thank you everyone for staying till this very time. I want to encourage each and every one of us that we should, follow this EduCraze Humanitarian Foundation on all the social media platforms, most especially on YouTube, on Facebook, And I want to say that our link to our WhatsApp group is being pasted here. So do ensure that you click to join the link so we can update you on further conferences that we are having. I guess the next one that is coming is going to be about finance in order for you to fund your institution. With all this we have learned from our leaders, from our teachers this day, I'm sure that God will help us. We'll go far. Invite others, not just for educationists, all the disciplines of life as an entrepreneur. Even to myself, I didn't attend this program just as the MC, but I've learned a lot as a minister of the gospel in order to, utilize the AI to go more to propagate the gospel, and also as an entrepreneur in automobile consultancy in order to do more in my own field. So thank you so much once again, everyone, for staying till this very moment. We have come to the end of our conference tonight. God bless you. Mm. Okay, I'm still there.